are back with another wine review. You can already see the label, Josh Cellars. You know, I think I reviewed, not I think, but I know I reviewed quite a few Josh Cellar wines, different vintages from the 10 label and different tiers that you can find in sort of a gray label, black label, brown label, I believe. But I've done quite a few. I'll make sure I tag some of those in this attach some of those to this video so you can find those. But if not, go to the YouTube channel, do a search for Josh Cellars and see what I thought about the Josh Cellar wines. Now, for those who are new, these are wines I like to call everyday drinking wines. These are wines that wherever you shop for wine, you may find these wines on the shelf. Liquor store, grocery store, wine shop, you'll find these wines. It's for everyday drinking. Now, I grade these wines. I pick up a few bottles, grade these wines with my simple system. Thumbs up says I recommend this wine. It's a good value wine, good for everyday drinking. I think you're going to enjoy it, all right? 3/4 is a wine that, if I don't want to share my thumb up wines, these are wines that I'm going to share with my friends when they come over. For those friends that don't really appreciate wine, they just want to drink wine, so I'm going to pour that wine for them. Also, these are wines I would take along with me to a party that I know I'm going to enjoy drinking, because you never know what wines are going to be at someone's party, right? Okay, so I bring this as a gift. Say, hey, let's open this bottle. And then there's halfway. Halfway is like, you know, wow, that wine didn't work for me. It didn't make it a bad wine. It just didn't work for my palate. But I'll let you know why it didn't work for my palate. But I want you to taste it and let the rest of us know what you think of that wine. Thumbs down. Always an easy one, right? And then there's always the infamous double thumbs up. Doesn't come out that often. When it comes out, you know, it's a highly recommended wine that I want you to try, and I want to know if we feel the same about that wine. So I'm very interested if you feel the same about that wine. But double thumb up wine says, you know, this is a wine that you really want to keep to the side. This is one of those wines that you want to drink on your own or share it with that special someone or a special friend that enjoys wine, and maybe even sit on a few bottles for a few years and see what happens. Double thumbs up. Okay, now back to Josh Cellars. This is going to be the, what is that, 2021 Josh Reserve Cabernet. Now, there's two Josh Reserve Cabernets on the market. You have the Paso Robles, and you also have the Josh Reserve North Coast. Two entirely different wines. They're going to taste different too. Okay, but today we're going to talk about the Josh Paso Robles. I have to get the North Coast. Oh, you know what? I should buy the North Coast and the Paso Robles, put them in a blind bag, and then taste them side by side. I'll do that. That's a video coming up in 2025. Sometime in 2025, I should say that. But that is going to be a video I'm going to do, side by side with those two wines. North Coast, Paso Robles. But anyway, Paso Robles. Up near San Luis Obispo, and I got a story about that we'll get to in a minute, Paso Robles. A funny story. But the Reserve 2021 alcohol is at 13.5%, and you can find this anywhere starting on sale at $17.50 to regular retail $27, $28. Okay, if you go $27.99, I like to round sometimes. So $27, $28 at regular retail, you can find this one where you shop for wine. So the Paso Robles. So now here's the thing about Josh Cellars. Josh Cellars don't own any vineyards, but they source a lot of their fruit from different vineyards. You know, the prime, the best places in sourcing their fruit to produce wine. You know, they try to go after making wines reminiscent of the Bordeaux style, you know, and dealing with blends. But here we're looking at a Cabernet for the Reserve. I'm looking forward to sharing this one with you. When I say alcohol, 13.5% alcohol, sweet spot on this one here, right? Paso Robles. So now my story on Paso Robles. Many years ago when I lived in California, and I had this thing that I wanted to buy some land. So I used to go up north, you know, quite a bit, you know, and go to San Luis Obispo, and I was looking in there, little Swiss town there, and then I would go into Paso Robles, you know, and I do some research, and wow, that smells good. And I found some land in Paso Robles. At that time, it was $1,500 an acre. And I was living in LA at the time. So I'm like, oh wow, $1,500 an acre, you know, And as I got back home and I was so excited about it, I was thinking about that's a long way. I'm talking to my family, things like this, a long way. You know, I don't know anybody out there. I'd be out there by myself. Now this was like in the early '80s. I mean, along of that corridor, you know, we're talking about Ventura through Santa Barbara, through San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles. There was some vineyards, but not a lot. Okay, not a lot at all. Now, let's fast forward, you know, to moving out of California, you know, and opening a wine store in Wisconsin, and talking with some of my salespeople or winery people, you know, from the winery. I had a winery rep come in who was from the Paso Robles area. So we're sitting there drinking their wine, just talking about, you know, blah, 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 just vibing about California. It was great to talk to somebody from California. And so I told him this story. And he just laughed. You know, and in a joking kind of way, he called me, okay, you were dumb. He said, and I told him, I said, I was afraid to be there by myself, in which I should have bought the land. Because at that time you think you buy something, you're going to live there. I should have bought the land and just sat on it. But I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking about buying to live. He said, you should have bought it at $1,500 an acre. Because now, this was in early 2000s. Maybe 2006, 2007, when I was sitting down with this conversation. He said, now the land is $150,000 an acre. Because of all the wineries and the vineyards up there. Ah! Right? I should have. So the moral of the story is, you know, don't be afraid to do something and think outside the box, you know, and pursue some of those dreams. You know, I kick myself every time. I love telling that story to people, you know, and I hope you enjoyed it too. But yeah, 10 times, 100 times, you know, I blew that one, right? So now, let's get into this Cabernet from Josh Cellars from Paso Robles. Beautiful coloring on this wine. Oh my gosh, that coloring is gorgeous, gorgeous. Deep ruby burgundy, you know, in this color here. Cabernet, all Cabernet. Oh, you know, I just got to say, I love drinking a Cabernet that's Cabernet. You know, it's a rarity when you have that. If you come from drinking wine a while back ago, there were still blends, you know, but some people tried to push the envelope and do 100% varietal, you know, and some were very successful and some were not. But if you remember those days and you have a chance to have just a Cabernet, it just hits the memories, right? It's so natural tasting. In fact, so natural tasting. Smelling and tasting for sure, but so natural that not only do you get those elements or characteristics of the Cabernet, you know, you get some plum, some cherry, some raspberry. But for me, I also pick up, because I grew grapes and red grapes too, I also pick up that grape nose, okay? The actual essence of the fruit itself. That is so beautiful, so beautiful, all right? And 13.5% alcohol, you know, that's right in the sweet spot. You know, I say the sweet spot, you know, for drinking wine. Not to worry too bad about hangovers unless you do a whole bottle by yourself, okay? You know, a whole bottle by yourself, 13%, 12%, it don't matter. But with friends, 13, 12%, that's perfect, sweet spot. You can open up 2 bottles at that rate, right? So 2 steps process. Let's taste for acidity, then we're going to taste the wine and give you my opinion, then rate it. So let's see what we got with acidity. Wonderful acidity. Medium gripping tannins, like, I'm here. Okay? Loving that. Well, we're not going to talk too much about the taste until we taste it the second time. Here we go. Wow. Now, Those tannins are nice. Fruit's nice. Nicely balanced. This would be great with food again. Great with food again. Ooh, that finish. Every time I speak, I can taste the wine because of the air coming in. Wow. So, here's what I like about when you start going up the tier in Josh wines, and depending on the varietal that's being used, Zinfandel is going to be completely different than the Cabernets and the Merlots, etc. Okay? Is that Josh, of course, is the dad, Joseph, is the winemaker or owner founder, is that they caught the bug of winemaking, okay? And wanted to produce wines that would emulate or best the wines coming out of France, more specifically the Bordeaux region, okay? You know, that nice acidity, that nice balance of flavor, you know, not being too heavy on alcohol or not being too heavy on the wood, you know, but just have a nice balance to it, you know. And when you start going up the tier in those wines, you know, you definitely get that, right? And this is one of those to enjoy. I'm looking forward to doing this in the North Coast side by side. So, but that's easier there. Here we go. So, your Wisconsin Wine Guide gives the Josh Reserve Paso Robles. I hit a double thumbs up. I'm digging it. Ooh, there's a plug. I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. I hope you enjoy too. Double thumbs up. I'm curious to know what you think about it. So, it's your Wisconsin Wine Guy saying, as always, let your palate be the guide selecting your wine. And maybe I'll see you in another video. Ciao!